Is there oil and gas in Kenya? And this is one of the questions that I get asked a lot. And it is also possible that you are wondering whether there is oil and gas in Kenya, which is why in this particular video and a series of other videos that you can find in this particular playlist, I'm going to help you understand the oil and gas value chain in Kenya, with a view of ensuring that you can be able to understand the opportunities, whether business or job opportunities, that you can be able to tap into. What this means is that if you are interested in the oil and gas industry in Kenya as an entrepreneur or as an investor who is seeking business opportunities in the industry, or as a person or a professional who is looking for job opportunities in the oil and gas industry in Kenya, then this video and a number of other videos in this particular series actually are for you. Oil and gas is a very interesting and a very important sector in Kenyan economy. And while as of today, Kenya is a net importer of petroleum products, it is also good for you to know and understand that Kenya is also exploring for oil and gas resources across various basins in the country. In fact, a few years ago, to be specific, 2012, Talo Oil announced the discovery of oil in Turkana in Kenya. And that, of course, raised a lot of excitement and hopes that one day Kenya is going to become an oil-producing nation. But before that time comes, and probably before we get to that stage where Kenya is an oil-producing nation, it is important for you to understand whether there is oil and gas in Kenya and how you can be able to position yourself to be able to tap in the many oil and gas opportunities that are available. In general, and in very simple terms, the oil and gas industry exists and is divided into three main sectors. You have the upstream, the midstream, and the downstream oil and gas sectors in Kenya. The upstream oil and gas industry in Kenya is actually relatively new, but it is also important to note that it has been there for quite a while. This is the sector that deals with searching for, exploring, and discovery of oil and gas resources in Kenya. And it is what you would consider to be the first or the starting point of the oil and gas value chain. In Kenya, there has been discovery of oil and gas in Turkana, a project that is still ongoing, and there is also ongoing exploration across the various oil and gas basins in Kenya, which has been divided or has been actually segmented into various oil blocks, both on the land and in the Indian Ocean. There are a number of stages that are involved in the oil and gas exploration and production processes. And over time, you are going to learn more as I continue to share with you about the oil and gas industry in Kenya. It's good for you to understand that the upstream oil and gas sector is active in Kenya. It is something that you can be able to look into, and if you're an investor seeking to invest in the upstream oil and gas sector, you can feel free to actually reach out to me and we can have a conversation about how you can be able to go about this. And now moving on to the midstream oil and gas sector in Kenya. This is the industry or the subsector of the industry that deals with the movement of oil and gas resources, either from the oil fields into the processing facility like a refinery, or from a refinery into the storage facilities. If you look at the history of the oil and gas in Kenya, you're actually going to figure out or find out that Kenya has had a refinery in the past. And while at the moment that refinery is decommissioned, it is actually being used as a storage facility by the Kenya Pipeline Corporation. Taking time to understand how the midstream oil and gas industry operates or sector operates in Kenya is an important step if you want to be able to tap into the job or business opportunities that are available in that subsector of the oil and gas value chain. Downstream oil and gas subsector is the third segment of the oil and gas industry in Kenya. And actually, this is the more popular one because this is one that is front-facing the customers. It is where you can be able to actually see the petrol station, the distribution stations, where you can be able to buy petroleum products. And in most cases, when I talk about oil and gas to people in Kenya, this is the thing that comes to mind, because they can be able to see the petrol stations, they can be able to see the vehicles that move, the petroleum products across the country. So it is easier for someone to conceptualize and understand oil and gas industry by looking at this particular subsector. But it's important for you to understand that that element or that side of the oil and gas industry in Kenya is just one of the three that comprise the entire oil and gas value chain in Kenya. Now, you can invest in this particular sector. There are opportunities for you to do business in the downstream oil and gas industry in Kenya. At the same time, you can also get a job in this particular industry. I am actually happy that you are here, that you are interested or are keen to understand the oil and gas value chain in Kenya, that you are curious enough to want to actually know what goes on in the industry and what you can be able to do if you want to make money within the oil and gas industry. And if you are serious or if you really want to get involved, I can be able to help you. I am going to leave a link in the description below, which is a link for you to be able to book a one-on-one strategy call with me, which is a paid offer. And we are going to discuss ways on how you can be able to get into the oil and gas industry, or how you can be able to tap into the many oil and gas opportunities that are available. And the idea here is that if you are an entrepreneur or a business owner, you should be able to consider the many oil and gas opportunities that are available across the oil and gas value chain in Kenya. And this is especially true if you would want to become a supplier of goods and services, especially to the upstream oil and gas industry, which is new and as it grows in the country. By taking time to understand the three segments of the oil and gas industry in Kenya, you give yourself an opportunity to be able to make money in the oil and gas industry by coming up with solutions or coming up with ideas that add value to the industry or to the companies that operate within this particular industry. And to further help you as you get into the oil and gas industry in Kenya, watch the video on your screen right now, subscribe to this YouTube channel if you have not, and I'm going to see you in my future videos.